Hello, my name is Julia Boslet, and today we're going to be looking at the philosopher John Locke. To first start us off, we're going to look at his early life. John Locke was born on August 29th in 1632. He was born in Rington, England, to two Puritan parents. His father is notable because he was a country lawyer and a small landowner who had served as a captain of cavalry for the parliamentarian forces during the English Civil War. Furthermore, for his education, Locke was educated at two schools. He first went to Westminster and then also studied at University of Oxford. As a college student, he decided to discover the works of philosophers such as Rene Descartes, which also started his interest in the subject. Locke studied philosophy such as moral philosophy, but several of other things such as Greek and also medicine and experimental sciences. For example, he worked with noted physicians and thinkers like Robert Boyle, Thomas Willis, Robert Hooke, and Richard Lower. Some of the noted interests that John Locke had were politics, science, and epistemology. Now to look at these interests in greater detail. First off, his political interest. Locke had the goal to prove that the government was unjust. He had a very strong belief that humans needed to protect their natural rights, which will be shown in his later works, which we're all pretty familiar with. He also was against absolute monarchy. Specifically, he opposed the divine rights of the kings. For his scientific interest, John Locke notably argued the theory of matter, which is also shown in his work called The Essay. In 1666, he practiced medicine on the politician Anthony Cooper. And for his epistemological interest, Locke wrote an essay concerning human understanding. In this essay, he talks about how people should live. Now we're going to look at some of his works with theories. John Locke is really known to have connections with the theory of empiricism. Locke is known as the first of three great British empiricists. John Locke objected to claims made by Descartes that there are a priori principles from which knowledge can be derived. However, Locke insisted that human beings are born with a blank state, which is also commonly known as tabula rasa. Other philosophers would support John Locke in his belief in empiricism. For example, David Hume was heavily influenced by Locke. Hume did reject the idea of there being no human nature, however, his moral theory was based on the concept that human intuitions form the basis of mortality, and this is a refutation of Locke's basic claims of the human mind being a blank state. Next, we're going to look at his theory of natural rights and natural law, which is the the concept that most people have with John Locke. Locke speaks of a state of nature where men are free, equal, and independent. Locke believed that the only reasons for the existence of government was to preserve natural rights and support them, and by extensions, man's happiness and security. These ideas were eagerly accepted by many American colonists in the 18th century, uh, and an age where political philosophy was widely read and discussed. Redefined the nature of government. Locke is really known for agreeing with Hobbes about the self-interest of nature of humans, but Locke was much more optimistic about their ability to reason to avoid tyranny. Now we're going to look at some of Locke's major works. Locke's work, The Two Treatises of the Government, is an important text on political theory. John Locke's political ideas were founded on a social contract theory, and he advocated governmental separation of powers along with the establishment of a civil society to resolve conflicts in a civil way. Also, the Treatise of Some Thoughts Concerning Education gave a framework of Locke's ideas on how to improve education in England, from where he's from. It became a significant philosophical work on the concept of education and was translated into almost all of the major European languages within a century. Now we're going to look at the strengths and weaknesses of John Locke's theories. First off, a strength of using empiricism as a way of finding truth is that rationalism does not necessarily account for the way the world really works. However, empiricism can. Empiricism is widely used in science as a method of proving and also disproving theories. For example, empiricism is really well known for having connections with physics. However, on the other hand, it cannot be used for complicated mathematics and algebra. Some mathematical equations are impossible to prove using empiricist methods because there is no physical way of showing the complications of the equation in an observational experiment. Empiricism is only useful if it is possible for one to actually experience something, and as much there is we cannot experience ourselves, rationalism is an important source for a great deal of knowledge. John Locke's legacy. John Locke's ideas are historically important largely because they helped to inspire the American Revolution. We can see proof of this for the fact of the Declaration of Independence, which uses John Locke's ideas. The Declaration of Independence is a living document that we have used for centuries and will always continue to use. Locke argued that since all people are equal with no one having more rights than another in a state of nature. Without his philosophy on natural rights, today we might not have the natural rights we have if it was not for Locke's concept on natural rights. And to conclude that, this is my works cited. Thank you for watching.